A secret path leads to a shocking discovery in the middle of the Sahara Desert, the Eye of the Sahara, or the Richat Structure. This huge, mysterious circle might be the lost city of Atlantis. Made of very old rocks and created by unknown forces, it's a place full of hidden stories. With many guesses and old tales, this spot in the desert could change what we know about history. Join us to discover what's concealed on a path that could alter our future. Desert rings. Mystery. What's hidden? For those who don't know, in Mauritania's western Sahara Desert, there's a place called the Richat Structure. Some people also call it the Eye of the Sahara. It's amazing because it looks a lot like what Plato described as the ancient city of Atlantis. Ever heard of the Eye of the Sahara, or the Richat Structure? It's like a giant, round bump in the earth, 40 kilometers wide, right in the middle of the Sahara. Big enough to see from space. It's not just big, but also has these cool ring patterns, like nature's own design, created by weather wearing it down over time. This spot is not well known, but it's really amazing. Wind and water have shaped it into layers, creating rings that tell a story of change over time. And guess what? These rings match up with stories of an old city made of rings of water and land, just like Atlantis. The outer layers are made of a very old and hard rock called quartzite. Inside, there are layers of softer rocks like limestone and sandstone. Right in the center, there's a mix of broken rock pieces found in areas with lots of earth movements. For geology lovers, the Richat Structure is a dream. It shows many different types of rocks and tells us how Earth's surface has changed over millions of years. Scientists think this big dome was pushed up from beneath the Earth, then slowly worn down by nature, making the ring patterns. But here's something interesting. Jimmy Corsetti suggests this could have been a big city, always busy, rich in trade and languages, just like Atlantis. It's just a guess, but it adds an exciting twist to the story. Now, about the Sahara Desert, where the Richat Structure is. This place used to be green, not dry, up to about 5,000 years ago. The changing climate has shaped the land and the structure in different ways over time. The rocks here are like history books, telling stories from 600 million years ago. The Richat Structure didn't just appear. It was formed by lots of natural events over a long time. It's especially famous for its near-perfect circular shape, so unique that astronauts use it to find their way from space. It wasn't really noticed until space missions in the 1960s. This circular pattern is a standout feature in the huge Sahara. Plato's stories about Atlantis from his works Timaeus and Critias really make you think. He wrote these in the 4th century BC, when Athens was enjoying its cultural peak. Plato was a top thinker, using these stories to discuss big ideas about society, morals, and reality. He makes his characters talk about different views, including Atlantis, this imaginary island past the Pillars of Hercules, now the Strait of Gibraltar. He described Atlantis in great detail, a huge place, bigger than Libya and Asia combined, with a unique design of rings of land and water connected by canals and bridges. The center of Atlantis was a fertile area, surrounded by high mountains, making it a rich and protected land. Plato said this city was rich in metals, had advanced water systems, beautiful temples, and was very powerful. But the story of Atlantis isn't just about its riches. It's also a warning about greed and decline, showing how a perfect place can fall apart. This mix of detailed storytelling and moral lessons is what keeps people fascinated, keeping Plato's work alive. Now, when we compare Atlantis to the Richat Structure in the Sahara, things don't quite match. People usually think of Atlantis under the sea, but that's not exactly what Plato said. And today's Sahara is dry, not at all like a sunken city. But some people think maybe the Sahara was different back then, maybe even near water. The Richat Structure is interesting because of all the old things found around it, like stone tools and pottery, showing people lived and worked there long ago. There's even ancient rock art showing animals and people, hinting at a rich past when the Sahara was green and full of life. These finds in the Sahara help us understand more about ancient humans and how they adapted to changing climates, from green lands to desert. There's still a lot to learn, especially about how people lived in these changing conditions. And think about this. The Sahara, now a big desert, holds secrets from the past under its sands, like the history of the Nubian people in Sudan and Egypt. This part of history isn't talked about enough, but it's just as important. The Sahara is like a hidden library of Earth's past, waiting to be explored. This society existed from about 2000 BCE to 350 CE, showing us how advanced ancient civilizations could be. This civilization, which lasted more than 2,000 years, was famous during the Kerma, Napatan, and Meroitic times. Nubia was along the Nile River, from southern Egypt to central Sudan. This key spot made Nubia very important for trade and business. They were known for their gold, and also traded things like ivory, incense, and ebony. These items were wanted all over Africa and the Mediterranean, making Nubia an important place for ancient trade. Some experts doubted old civilizations could make big things like the Sphinx 12,000 years ago. They used to say that there were no old civilizations capable of such works until Göbekli Tepe was found. This site, buried on purpose 11,600 years ago, changed their minds. After uncovering the Sahara's hidden gem, let's look into Nubia's ancient wonders next. Golden Past, Nubia's rise and fall revealed. Now let's explore how Nubia and ancient Egypt got along. Their relationship was very complex and interesting. They traded and shared culture, but also fought and took over each other's lands. Sometimes, Nubian leaders even ruled Egypt, like during the 25th dynasty. This shows how powerful and influential Nubia was in that area. Nubia, located along the Nile in today's Sudan and southern Egypt, has a long and rich history, with impressive buildings. One of the first big places there was Kerma, from around 2500–1500 BC. It was an important place for politics and trade because of its spot on the Nile. In Kerma, they built big buildings out of mud bricks called defas. We're not sure what these were for, maybe temples or palaces. They were also great at making pottery and working with ivory and gold. Then came Napata, around 1300 BCE, becoming a big cultural and religious spot. Here, Nubia started to have a big impact on Egypt, especially during the 25th dynasty. Think of the Temple of Amun in Napata. It was a key place for Nubian culture and politics. The pyramids used for royal burials here show how Egyptian culture influenced them. By 300 BC, 350 CE, the capital moved from Napata to Meroe. This change was big, showing a move of power to Meroe. This place was known for its arts and ironwork, and for creating the Meroitic script, an early African writing system different from Egyptian hieroglyphs. The Great Sphinx of Giza and two temples in front of it might be older than we think. They stand out because they seem to belong to a different time than the rest of the structures around them. Now, about Nubia's pyramids. They had over 200, mainly in El Kuru, Nuri, and Meroe. These were different from Egyptian pyramids, smaller, with steeper sides and detailed carvings. They served as royal graves and were richly decorated inside. These sites, with temples and chapels, show they believed strongly in life after death. The Garamantes in southwest Libya's Fezzan region show how advanced ancient societies were, even in tough places like the Sahara. They thrived from 500 BCE to 700 CE, mastering farming, city planning, and trade. They really knew how to make the desert work for them. Archaeologists have found large, detailed tombs in this area, showing their beliefs in life after death and a clear social order. They also found goods with the dead, giving us clues about their culture and beliefs. The ruins of their city, Garama, show they were good at planning and managing water, crucial in the desert. Their streets were well organized, and they had reservoirs, irrigation, and defenses, all showing they were well prepared and skilled. Now, let's discuss trading. They discovered Roman coins at archaeological sites, showing the Garamantes traded with Rome. Imagine trade caravans crossing the desert. They also found Egyptian charms and items from sub-Saharan Africa, proving they traded far and wide. This variety of goods highlights their central role in trade and connections with many cultures. And then, near Cusco, there's unique stonework, also found in Al-Lahak Huyak in Turkey. Is this just by chance, or is there a hidden story in history we're missing? The same T-shaped pillars found at Göbekli Tepe and the Temple of Edfu in Upper Egypt appear in Peru too. Next, let's visit Tassili Niger in Algeria, a window into early human civilization. Located in the Sahara, this area is filled with ancient rock art preserved by its desert conditions. Envision vast sandstone landscapes, cliffs, and valleys sheltering prehistoric art. This art is not just a few sketches. It spans back to the Neolithic era, some 12,000 years old. Found by a French team in the 1930s, these paintings offer insights into ancient lives, showing hunting, dancing, and the shift from wild animals to domesticated cattle. But there's more than art here. Archaeologists found tools and pottery, showing continuous human habitation. These items reveal changes from hunting tools to those used by settled communities. Preserving Tassili Niger, a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 1982, is crucial. However, it faces challenges from erosion, climate change, and tourism, which can harm the ancient art. Now, think of the Sahara not as a barren desert, but as a region with a hidden past revealed through fossils and scientific studies. The Sahara once had rivers, lakes, and diverse life, shown by well-preserved fossils of fish and plants. These fossils, scattered across the Sahara, indicate it was once a rich, diverse environment with extensive water bodies. These discoveries, supported by satellite images and geological surveys, reveal ancient rivers and varied landscapes, offering a glimpse into the Sahara's lush, varied past. Next up is isotope analysis, kind of like a history detective tool for understanding old weather patterns. By studying different types of isotopes in the ground, scientists can figure out past temperatures and how much it rained. For instance, more oxygen-18 means it was probably hotter and drier. Carbon isotopes show what kinds of plants were there, which tells us about past rainfall. This method has really helped figure out the Sahara's weather history, showing us how it changed from a wet green place to the dry desert we see today. And this isn't just about the Sahara. These findings help us understand big global weather changes, like ice ages. So really, the Sahara used to be a place full of water and life, but now it's known for being a huge desert. But with fossils and isotope studies, we get to see its green side and learn why it changed. Now, let's talk about something amazing in Turkey. There are massive underground cities like huge ant farms dug into the earth. One of the most famous is Derinkuyu in Turkey's Cappadocia region. This ancient underground city shows just how clever and tough past people were. Scientists don't fully understand why or when these cities were built. They're carved from stone, so we can't date the stone itself, only things left behind by people who used them. The story of Derinkuyu starts around the 8th to 7th centuries BCE with the Phrygians, who were known for building stuff. It probably began as a small hideout and grew as more people added to it. Around the 2nd and 3rd centuries AD, early Christians hiding from the Romans made more rooms, places to worship, and spots to hang out together. These underground cities weren't just used by one group. Christians, Muslims, and others used them over 2,000 years, sometimes even as homes. From the stories of Nubia, let's now explore the great buildings made by ancient people, showing their smart ideas. The underneath secrets of Cappadocia. Building Derinkuyu was a huge task. It meant digging out about 2.5 million cubic meters of a kind of volcanic rock called tuff. This rock is easy to shape, but gets harder when it touches air, which made the city's big underground rooms stable. Derinkuyu was more than just a hiding spot. It was a fortress during wars and troubles in the important area of Cappadocia. I think the underground cities were made as safe places where people could hide during big meteor showers in the past. They weren't just shelters, they were full living spaces underground with wells, food stores, areas for animals, and even a jail. They were well planned with air and water. The city had a complex design that allowed a lively community life with homes, shared kitchens, and worship places. This shows that the people were good at city planning and living together. It could fit up to 20,000 people and had great systems for fresh air and water, showing the old days building and engineering skills. Derinkuyu was especially important to early Christians. It was not just a safe place, but also a sacred one. There were many chapels and churches with religious art, showing its role as a spiritual refuge. Derinkuyu, deep as an 18-story building underground, was cool and stable all year. It was made to hold up to 20,000 people and their animals and stuff. This shows a well-organized society that could handle life's needs in a tight but complex place. With at least 18 levels, Derinkuyu was more than tunnels. It was a big working city underground. It had homes, community areas, and animal spaces, showing a society that liked order and community. The design made sure people could move around easily underground. Also, hidden doors and long secret tunnels showed careful planning to keep the city safe. These hidden paths were key for spying or escaping during attacks. Even though we've learned a lot, Derinkuyu still hides some secrets. Safety worries and collapse risks keep some parts closed, making people guess about its full size. The stories about Derinkuyu and nearby underground cities mix history and myths. There are tales of big tunnel networks for trading, talking, or escaping enemies. Some even think Derinkuyu was a place for aliens or a leftover from a lost smart civilization. While these ideas go beyond proven facts, they show how much Derinkuyu fascinates us, reflecting our love for mysteries. Derinkuyu is a rare find that shows human toughness, building skill, and Anatolia's deep history. This old underground city, carved out of earth, tells us about people's efforts to protect their beliefs, culture, and lifestyle. Imagine early Christians between the 1st and 3rd centuries AD hiding from Roman attacks. Derinkuyu was their hidden spot, where they could keep their faith secretly. They made chapels and churches underground, decorating them with Bible stories and Christian signs, not just for survival, but to keep their faith and culture alive. But Derinkuyu wasn't alone. It was part of a big network of underground cities in Cappadocia, linked by tunnels. These weren't only for hiding, but for trade, talking, and moving strategically, showing advanced social planning and city design in ancient Cappadocia. This network highlights the area's importance as a cultural and economic center, showing the people's cleverness in making a connected and cooperative community. The rediscovery of Derinkuyu in 1963 is just as interesting as its past. A local man found a hidden room behind a wall in his house, which turned out to be the entrance to this old underground city. This find got historians, archaeologists, and regular people very excited, leading to more exploration and eventually opening it for tourists. Now, Derinkuyu is more than a historical site. It's a big attraction that brings people from all around to see its old paths, chapels, and smart building work. It's so important that it and other places in the Cappadocia area are now part of the UNESCO World Heritage Sites. This shows how valuable it is, keeping its story and design safe for others to learn from. The city is a reminder of the amazing things people can do when they really need to, making complex and beautiful safe spots. Daring Kuyu also helps teach us about old ways of building, living together, and staying safe. It continues to inspire and teach, showing us how clever and strong communities can be, even when times are hard. Archaeologists are curious about what else might be inside, things we might not even realize were made by people. Inside the Great Pyramid of Giza, for example, there's the King's Chamber, a big deal in old Egyptian building that still draws people's interest. The King's Chamber has huge granite blocks on its walls and ceiling. Walking through the Grand Gallery to get there shows just how skilled the old Egyptian builders were. Egyptologists think the big stones were moved on wet sand. But for places like the King's Chamber, way up high, that method seems unlikely. This chamber, made of red granite from far away, shows the Egyptians' big skills in moving and building. Its size might even have special meanings, like matching up with stars or sounds. In the middle, there's a granite box, probably meant for Pharaoh Khufu, but it was found empty. The box and the fact it's there hints at careful planning in the pyramid. Above the chamber, special rooms help hold up the pyramid's weight, showing the builders knew a lot about keeping things standing. Also, there are two small shafts that might have been for more than just air. Maybe they had something to do with the stars or the afterlife. Walking into the Grand Gallery is like seeing ancient genius firsthand. No one knows exactly how they did it all. This gallery, leading to the King's Chamber, impresses everyone with its design and shows just how advanced the Egyptians were in building. The materials, limestone for the walls and heavier stones for the ceiling, were well chosen to support the huge weight above. This gallery might have been used for the pharaoh's funeral or other important rituals. Then there's the Queen's Chamber, another mystery. It's unlikely it was for a queen, since there were no burial things found. It's lower than the King's Chamber, but has its own charm and questions, like what was the big niche in the wall for? Like the King's Chamber, this room's ceiling is made in a special way for stability, and maybe also for meaning. Everyone has different ideas about what it was all for. Leaving behind Nubia's old buildings, let's go underground to explore secret cities and their mysteries. Egypt's underground puzzles. What's hidden? Some people believe this area was for ceremonies celebrating a king's rebirth, possibly containing a special statue or object. Others think it shows ancient Egyptian beliefs about the sky, or was used for practical reasons like supporting the pyramid or holding a statue. New technology lets us study the Queen's Chamber without damaging it. Techniques like heat scanning and particle imaging reveal hidden areas and clues about how and why it was built. The Great Pyramid hides other mysteries too, like small air channels in the subterranean chamber. These channels, discovered in 1872, are too narrow for people but may point to stars important to Egyptians, suggesting a deeper meaning than just ventilation. Robotic cameras investigate these channels, uncovering hidden doors and rooms and deepening the mystery of the pyramid's purpose. The unfinished subterranean chamber raises questions about its intended use, with many theories but no clear answers. The discovery of a space called the Big Void, found using special scanning that detects empty spaces by capturing muons from outer space, has excited scientists. This large hidden area, located above another chamber, might have been used to reduce the pyramid's weight or for secret rituals. We're still figuring it out. New discoveries like the Big Void show there's still much to learn about the pyramid's construction and purpose. Yet, every new finding, like supposed ceremonial burials in complex caves, faces skepticism, highlighting the ongoing challenges in historical research. The Osiris Shaft, another site near the pyramids, is slowly revealing its secrets, indicating there's always more to explore beyond the well-known landmarks. Yes, we are indeed discovering ancient, forgotten techniques. This place, overlooked since the 1800s, holds secrets about Egyptian religious practices only now coming to light, showing that even lesser-known spots have stories to tell, apart from the more famous pyramids and Sphinx. We're still figuring out how ancient Egyptians built such huge structures. The details of how they lifted and placed those massive stones remain a mystery. It's like we're finding pieces of lost ancient skills. The Osiris shaft is especially fascinating. Its full story only started to unfold in the 1990s with archaeologist Zahi Hawass. He explored deeper into the shaft, showing us more about Egyptian religious beliefs and engineering. Recently, water near the Sphinx caused worries. Clearing the Osiris shaft of water was a huge job, but it let us see more of its secrets. The shaft has 3 layers, each with different designs and purposes, showing the ancient Egyptians' cleverness. The deepest part has a big stone coffin in water, linking to their ideas of life after death. The middle part has 6 empty graves, leaving us wondering if they were robbed or meant to stay empty. This layer tells us about old burial customs, but also leaves many questions. We're not sure who made the Osiris shaft or exactly when, but small things found inside, like pottery and stone pieces, suggest it's from the New Kingdom era. This helps us guess the age of this complex place. One of the most touching finds was mummified bodies in rooms near the main burial area. These give us a real sense of the ancient Egyptians' lives, their food, health, and environment. These discoveries show us more than just their building skills. They give us a peek into the daily lives of people from thousands of years ago. Let's chat about Osiris. He's a special god from ancient Egypt, all about life after death, dying, and coming back to life. His own brother, Set, tricked and hurt him badly. But his story didn't end there. With his wife Isis's help, he was put back together and came back to life. Osiris's tale is super important in Egyptian myths, showing the endless cycle of life, death, and coming back. Now, there's this special place called the Osiris Shaft. It's like a big tribute to Osiris's wild story, built right into the ground. In this deep spot, there's a room with water that people think stands for the underworld. You'd find yourself by a big stone coffin, kind of like Osiris's own burial place. But it's more than just a grave. It symbolizes his trip through death and his big role as boss of the underworld. Why make such a spooky spot? Well, some think it was used for special ceremonies, kind of like an extreme spiritual journey. These weren't just any old ceremonies. They were deep, life-changing experiences, meant to echo Osiris's own ups and downs. And this place might even be lined up with the stars, linking it to Osiris and the world beyond. It's like a path from Earth to the stars, showing the journey a soul takes after we say goodbye. The cool part is how this whole Osiris shaft, with its design and found stuff, mirrors old Egyptian writings and beliefs about life after death. Things like water, boats, and the importance of coffins. It's like this place brings those old stories and beliefs into the real world, a link to the past carved into the earth. Now, about the design and setup of this place, it's pretty mind-blowing. The Egyptians were really ahead of their time in how they planned and built. They cut out these spaces so precisely, it makes you think about how well they knew their way around rock and earth. Right at the start, there's this rectangular hole leading down. But it's no simple hole. It's a precisely made shaft, about 30 feet deep. Think of the hard work to dig through rock with just stone tools, ropes, and wood. It shows how smart they were about building. When you first enter, there's a simple room. It's not fancy, but maybe that's the point. It seems like a place to wait or prepare for something deeper, maybe even for special cleansing rituals. From deep underground cities, we move to Turkey to see a place that makes us rethink old times. The mystery of the stone coffin. The real excitement starts when you explore deeper on the second level. Here there's another deep hole leading down 20 meters to a more complex area. These holes might have been used for burials or as symbols of the journey after death. On the third level, things become even more exciting. You go down another deep hole, now 30 meters below ground. Here, you find a big stone coffin in the middle of the room. This place isn't just for burying the dead, it represents the tomb of Osiris. The room has water in it, which makes it even more special, connecting it to Egyptian ideas of being reborn and cleaned. Graham Hancock is a writer who often causes debates when talking about old civilizations. He writes interesting books and has ideas that don't always match what most experts think. He suggests that there was a very advanced civilization long before our known history. This civilization knew a lot about stars, building, and math. Hancock thinks the Osiris hole could be a secret from this old, wise society. He wonders if this amazing old thing is older than we think, or if it was made using knowledge from a lost advanced group. Hancock is really into how old buildings line up with stars. He hasn't said the Osiris hole lines up with stars, but he thinks it might fit into his big ideas. He believes many of Egypt's old monuments are connected to the stars, and the Osiris hole could be part of this. Hancock also talks about big disasters long ago that might have wiped out this advanced group. He thinks the water in the lower parts of the Osiris hole could be a sign of the big floods his lost civilization went through. Now let's talk about Göbekli Tepe, an incredible old place over 11,000 years old. This place was built way before Stonehenge and is a huge mystery. It has massive stone pillars, carved and set up using only simple tools. This shows that the people back then were very skilled and worked well together, which goes against what we used to think about early humans. Göbekli Tepe changes how we think about old places because it was made without modern technology. It shows that early people were really smart and could do big projects together. This goes against the old idea that only farming societies could build such things. Göbekli Tepe proves that even back then, people could plan and build amazing things together. Imagine a group of people around 12,000 years ago. They didn't have metal tools, wheels, or animals to help them. But they wanted to build something amazing. They planned to use big limestone pillars, each over 5 meters tall and weighing about 10 tons. They had to dig them out, shape them, move them, and set them up using only stone tools, wood, and teamwork. Picture this. Hundreds of people working together, coordinating their efforts to move these huge stones. It was a big job, needing careful planning and teamwork, showing these early people were quite smart and organized. Now think about how they set up these stones at a place called Göbekli Tepe. They didn't just throw them down anywhere. They placed them in circles, lining some up with the stars, showing they knew a lot about building and the sky. Researchers believe these people might have used the stars to guide them, aligning their big stone circles with the night sky. This shows they were not only great builders, but also knew about the stars, possibly even using them as a calendar. Göbekli Tepe seems more like a special meeting place than a home. There's no sign that people lived there all the time. Instead, they might have come for important events, maybe for religious reasons. This tells us these people had complex beliefs and social lives, even before they started farming and living in one place. The carvings on the stones at Göbekli Tepe are also special. They show animals and symbols, which could mean these early people had important stories and beliefs about these creatures. Maybe they were symbols for their clans or gods. These carvings are some of the oldest art we know, and they give us clues about how these people thought and what was important to them. The story of Göbekli Tepe is amazing, like from a movie. Long ago, around 8000 BCE, people buried this huge site on purpose. It's not clear why they did it, maybe for religious reasons, to protect it, or to keep it safe from disasters or attacks. But here's the surprising part. Göbekli Tepe changes how we think about early people. We used to believe that farming started everything, building big things and living together. But Göbekli Tepe was built by people who hunted and gathered, way before they started farming. This means that coming together for big events or ceremonies might have been what first made people want to live in one place. So Göbekli Tepe makes us question our old ideas. It shows that even the early hunter-gatherers could plan big things, work together, and express their beliefs strongly. It seems that these shared beliefs and rituals might have been very important in bringing people together, even before farming began. So, is the Eye of the Sahara truly the lost city of Atlantis? Or just a spectacular trick of nature? What do you believe lies beneath the sands? Share your theories with us, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more thrilling mysteries from around the world.